Любі друзі, всім привіт! Радий вас вітати в просторі Air. Сьогодні ми з вами поговоримо про продакшн теми. І першою темою нашого виступу буде, нашим спікером буде Олесь Дібрівний, співзасновник Fantasy Frontier Studios. А поговоримо ми про його студію та про їх проєкт Arcane Words. Це проєкт, який вони створили за 2 місяці, та зібрали близько 50 тисяч скачувань у плеймаркеті. Вони зробили цей проєкт на повністю своєму фінансуванні. Та ми з вами поговоримо про вибір концепту гри, те, як збиралась їх команда, про виклики та факапи на проєкті, та реліз, проблеми з релізом, і що їх чекало на цьому шляху. Тепер, якщо ви не проти, декілька слів про нашого лектора. Олесь Дібрівний – це кофаундер та лід-девелопер у Fantasy Frontier Studios. До цього більше ніж 5 років працював у розробці як Unity-девелопер, так? Та працював у таких продуктових компаніях, як Kyiv та Tauron Mobile. Також вже більше 7 років він працює як викладач в Державному університеті телекомунікацій та викладає розробку ігор. І в свій час встиг попрацювати в КПІ імені Сікорського. Будь ласка, передаю вам слово.
Thank you for a great introduction, and we will begin our lecture. And today I will share with you my personal story of game development journey of our company and me as a lead developer, co-founder, and many things that I did while developing our first game. But firstly, we will go to the beginning of our story, because our story starts from a dream. And back into 2006, two boys were playing Heroes of Might and Magic 3 and dreaming about their own game development company. Then we grow up and some things changed in our life, and even I became game developer, but making games and making your own games is 2 different stories. So I was working in different product companies of Ukraine, like Unity developer, and my friend Bogdan was the person who constantly reminded me about our dream to become game developers. But when you work in IT, you grow to comfort. And it's hard to you to become something new, to risk all that you got. So it brings us to last winter, when my life decided that I had enough comfort and I was fired from my previous job, where I was working for almost 3 years. And my relationship, which I was building for 4 years, died. So it was best time to try to make your dreams come true. And Bogdan called me one day, and I said, why not? And this brings us to the first and biggest fuck up of our story, of our journey, and it's the rush. And here you can see 2 main reasons why. First is when you have hard times in your life, you tend to become a little bit maniac. You think that you can take over the world with a snap of your fingers. And I was in that state when my friend Bogdan said, let's make our game, because he wanted to create his own game company and to monetize it and get a lot of money. I don't think that it was wisest choosing of investments, because game companies tend to deliver you funds in very long perspective. But nevertheless, we started our company, and it brings us to first step, choosing your first project. There are 4 points that I consider you to take into account when you're choosing your first project. First one is most obvious, it's a starting budget, because it will decide what kind of team, how many team members will you have, how many months you will have until your fundings run out and you will need to start searching for investors, and even what instruments you will use while development, because a lot of instruments that needed to create games are not really cheap. Second is a little bit complicated, because make you love not about things that you can't create something cool if you don't like it. It's more about that all your time that you spend playing games or watching your favorite streamers or reading some reviews about games, your brain is like mega computer who consume all information and allow you to think the way people who like things that you like are thinking. And you will have advantage of ways to reach to them. Third is know your niche, because after you choose projects that you love, you need to understand. There are no games that create genres from get-go. When you create your game, you will be working in some niche where you have to compete with games that already there. The only way that you create your genre is if your game becomes so popular that a lot of companies starts to duplicate it. And final thoughts is decide how to monetize. And I'm talking about not choice between advertisement, subscription, or one-time purchase. I'm talking about you need to decide, do you want to monetize your game with your own forces, or you want to create product with as high quality as you can and find investors, publishers, and go that way, because good projects tend to have more chance of finding investments than bad ones. And after we take to consideration all this, we created our first project, Arcane Words. Idea was simple. We will take word puzzle games, mechanic words from words, and add to the game 2 mechanics from not casual games like achievements and collecting. And idea was that people who play word puzzle games tend to read more. That's why team of literature and our patents dedicated to world famous artists, to some books, will be a good addition to our game. But why? Why we choose Arcane Words? And 4 main points is easy to develop, easy to sustain. Because mechanics of word games is really simple. And it's really easy to add new levels, to add new mechanics, like, for example, PvP or time modes. And it could be done in like 2 weeks of programming. Then we have long lifespan with 2 reasons for it. First is mechanics of collecting and achievements that we added, because the sole purpose of these mechanics is to make your player and spend more time in your game. And second one is our third point, is perspective niche. Because word puzzle games is really interesting niche, because it's not hyper casual and casual, but many people play it on daily basis. And it have a really long average session of 11 minutes. Also, players of puzzle games are really loyal to their games, because these mechanics tend to burn out a lot slowly than, for example, match 3 or other mechanics. And niche is very perspective because in 2023 alone, it gathered $3.8 billion. And there are only like 5 or 6 games in that niche. They are almost totally duplicates of each other. So when we chose our project, we started from MVP. And while talking about MVP, you need to remember one thing, minimum. Because you need to deliver bare minimum game that will give your users experience enough to enjoy it. And you can predict how much content you need for your game if you analyze your competitive games in your niche. Because you can know about average session length, you can find out about retention of first and seventh day, and this way you can predict how much time users will spend in your game. And you can predict what content you will give them with how many levels, how many achievements, and so on. And looking back to the MVPs that we choose to deliver, I would cut it like to 30% of what we do. After you plant your MVP, you will know how many work hours you need of your team to put into it. And then it brings us to time when you want to create your perfect team. Because I was working for 5 years in game development and almost 7 years in lecturing game development, I had a lot of connections. And shortly after me, Kyiv hired from their team grade to the artist, Valeria, that I acquired for my team, and because she is a really talkative person too, she bring out 2 more people, another to the artist and UX designer, and our development team was ready. At the same time, Bogdan had his own team of media buyers, because he tried to create his own company for advertisement. And he gathered his friends, so we had our team really fast. Like in 2 weeks, we had a fully complicated team of 11 people. But this brings us to 3 consequences that bite us in the ass later. And first, that when you gather team from your friends, you see their superpowers, but tend to forget about their weaknesses, because they're your friends. And when you bring 2 teams with really different working experience, with really different ideas, you can have a lot of troubles that you will put time into. Second is cheap and fast. You can choose only one. You can choose to invest in professionals with a lot of experience who will cost you more, or you can choose to work with beginners. For example, I could use help of my students as Unity developers on the start of our journey. But you need to understand that people without experience need to be guided. And time that you will use to guide them very often will be bigger than time that you need to do it by yourself. And third is programming isn't equal to C#. And what I mean by that is that experience in programming not equal to experience in C#. And I use this phrase because it's most obvious one. But when we're talking about marketing, analytics, art is not quite as obvious as in programming. Because people who don't work in, for example, game development industry can have blind spots in very important things that that will bite you in the ass later. So after we gathered our team, our journey started. And first 3 months was like heaven. We was enthusiastic, we were inspiring each other. We was working for 8-9 hours a day, and we were happy. We were partying sometimes, but while we was in this state of heaven, we forgot about some problems that we had. And first one is me, because one-man army is good, but it's really bad, because one-man army becomes bottleneck. When I planned my work for next half year, I was in manic state, and I was working like 10 hours a day. At 7 a.m. Every work day, I was either at the pool or either at the gym. Then at 10 a.m. I was working to 7 p.m., go back home, 3 more hours of work, and this regime was really hard, but I managed to pull it off. And I forgot about one very important thing. For me, it was allergy. I have seasonal allergy, and in August, my life became hell. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't breathe, and my productivity just went to the ground. Also, when I was planning my role as developer, I underestimated my role as manager, because I was managing pretty much all about project, and everyone was waiting for me to give them feedback, to give them tasks. And because of that, a lot of time I haven't completed some things that I need to complete. Another one is cheap and fast again, because we tried to save money when developing our site. And we tried to use help of, firstly, our team member, and he started to develop inside and then just ghosted us. So we spent 3 months developing site with no results. So we again tried to hire another student. And he finished site, but in total it took us like 2 or 3 months to develop a landing page. And it had consequences with Apple. The third one, you're not special. There are 8 billion people on this earth, and a lot of them have really great ideas. And it's not about that your idea not unique. It's about that the ways you can promote and the ways you can bring your ideas to life is not as variable as ideas. And many people can use the same ways that you use. And because of time, because of how many people will use this way, you will not be able to access some of that. That's why we had problems with copywriting, because at first we want to add it to our painting collections, some modern authors. And we started to write letters to them with a request, please give us your request, so we will use you in our game. And we write like 20 or 30 letters, and only representatives of Ursula Le Guin and Eric Maria Remarque allowed us to use their likeness. From other people, we get denial or just silence. And the last one is beware of AI. with every day, IE become bigger and bigger part of our work. But IE bite us in the ass when we were creating our logo. We had this beautiful lion with the wings in flat style that we used for all our social media. And in one day, some girl reached to me in Facebook and said, hey, your logo is laying on the site and it cost $600. And you might have problems if you will using it in the future. So 2 weeks of creating logo and ideas for our company went to the bin. We created new logo, but it was valuable time that we could use to other things. But then we got our first release. I think that we had a pretty good development cycle, and in just 4 months, in time that I said would be a worst result for us as development team to deliver that game, we developed it and we released it on 8th of August. And few good points that we used to deliver our game. Our social media become platform for us to find beta testers and really loyal audience that played our game in first months, like in really high volumes. For example, longest time played in our game at first month was like 6 hours. Then in just 15 days, we got 10K downloads on Google Play, and our ratings was pretty high because our beta testers made the fact that we don't have QA not that noticeable. And what we were doing next? We were making our iOS release, and I will be honest, release iOS from Ukraine is hell. If you want to start your company as official company from the start, to release your game on your company account, you need to connect with Apple team by going to their site and clicking button call me. But there is one problem. For Ukraine, the button is unavailable. So you need to connect from with email with Apple development team. You need to give them your number, they will call you, and whole this process take for us like 3 weeks after we got our site. And then when all was done and I was trying to pay out our account, Apple didn't take our paying card, and they said, try to enroll your account through our app. But there was one problem. There's 2 problems, actually. First, that their app for Mac is pretty laggy. And second, that we need to start the whole process of enrollment from the start. With call, with input of our number through messaging, and it took us 2 more weeks. Then we went to Kyiv Book Fest because we wanted to work with literature in our app. So we thought that Book Fest is a great place to first connect with our audience, and second, to find connection with Ukrainian publishers to do something interesting things. And one of that things is our collection dedicated to Lovecraft. We created it with, in partnership with Żupanski Publishing. They gave us their book covers. They gave us contacts of illustrator who made them, this art, and we created pretty good collection that gave us a lot of marketing possibilities, because 3 collections that we released was dedicated to holidays or some special events. For example, our Red Renaissance collection was dedicated to Ukrainian Independence Day. our collection, inspired by works of Tolkien, was dedicated to Hobbit Day and Lovecraft for Halloween. And fourth, we were experimenting with monetization. We were trying to add more ads, to use subscription, but nothing was working. And then it brings us to things that we were supposed to do from the moment we released our first release, but we started to do it like 2 or 3 months later, where we was almost out of funding, and it's prioritize our problems. Feel missing experience, because when I was talking about that programming is not equal to programming in C#, for example, in marketing, we had great team of media buyers, but none of them worked with iOS marketing. And iOS become this child who drowns in the pool while we working with Android, because we don't know how to do it. Cut spendings, our marketing was going strong. We had a really good price for one user. So we ran it to the ground, but in the same time, our monetization was not working. So we just spent our money to promote our game. And fourth one is really simple. After you released your game, you need to start looking for investment if you don't have investment for a period that's long enough for you to find your ways to monetize your game. So what we had at the point of like 2 weeks ago, total users of our game is 80,000. I know that name of my lecture is 50K, but when I was preparing my team for game gathering, it was like months ago, so in this time we got another 30K of downloads. As you see, iOS is like not alive. There's only 2,000 users and they're mostly organic. But it's a big plus because our iOS game is perfectly clear without bad reviews. We got a pretty high rating on iOS, like 4.8. And Android is 78,000 of downloads, and 7% of them are organic. And you can see here table with cost per user of our marketing. Philippines is a really fun story because when we released our game in first few days, we were sitting as laptops, just updating analytics page to see 10 more downloads, and we saw that we got a pretty good organic traffic from Philippines. So we tried to market it, and it got us pretty good results. Also some another stats. Here you can see our retention of first day. B is best and C is current. Why our retention rate is fault? Because when we're starting to look for investments, when we're starting to look for ways to sustain our company, because I'm only one developer in our team, I fucked up last release and fucked up pretty bad. It was bugged. People wasn't really happy, and our retention rate go low. But we fixed all of that, and now it's like, okay. iOS have a pretty high retention rate because it's mostly organic, and organic users are more tend to play your game more because they were searching for something to play, something particular, and they will stay with you longer than people from than the people that you buy it from marketing. And some fun stats. For example, 50K of our users opened our collection, looked through them, and 3K users downloaded our pictures, because when we delivered collection for Hobby Day, we add functionality that you can download our pictures in high quality and use them as wallpapers for your phone or whatever you want. So we analyzed a lot, and we found out our biggest problems. And first one is things that we underestimated is gameplay mechanics of word puzzle games, and the core things of that mechanics is dictionaries. Because, for example, for Ukrainian people, for Ukrainian region, our dictionaries are pretty full, and we limited them only to use nouns, because it would be hard to create levels when you have like 40 or 50 words from a short word. But for English people, it's really hard to understand rules of the game. And we tried a lot of different ways to show them rules, to make onboarding for them, to make some pop-ups that will show up when they enter like adjectives or other parts of words except nouns, but they just don't give a fuck because they don't want to read rules, they want just to play. And we begin to increase size of our dictionaries, but without proper instruments, it's really hard to do. Second, that missing expertise in monetization is our biggest problem, and here you can use two ways. First way is to find publisher, because publishers will not only marketize your game and give you money from it, but they will help you with some things that they knew how to do and you don't. For example, monetization, because they have worked their way to monetize their games in using projects for over like 4 or 5 years, and they have great expertise in this. Because of dictionaries and because of last bug to release, our rating on Google Play for English regions went really low. And we are working on fixing this problem, but it needs time. In Ukraine, we had great rating, like 4.8, and on iOS, we had great rating too. And first point is that our mechanics are cool, but they don't work well, which is other. For example, yeah, we have collection, a lot of people open them, but not a lot of people buys our pictures in a game. And fifth is that we almost out of resources. So what we going to do next? First is search for investments. There are separate ways you can find investments for your game, and first is grants. Nowadays, Google holds separate grants program for Ukraine. It's called Google Support for Ukrainians, and it can be used pretty well. Also, we are in search of publisher for Arcane Words, because we decided that we can't monetize our game by ourselves. We need we need guidance in this question, and also investor for Fantasy Frontiers. Also, we keep improving Arcane Words. We find solution for our problems is Oxford Dictionary, and we will talk about it a little bit later. And soon enough, we will be adding time mod and player vs player mods to our game. And we will be constantly putting new collection, because a new collection is not only content for our players, but it is really great way to market our game. And it brings us to the third part of what we will do next, is our new project, Arcane Word Estate, your personal literary space. What I mean by personal literary space is game which will combine two really simple elements: word puzzle games and a customizable mansion. So, word puzzle games. In Arcane Words Estate, there will be 6 word puzzle games, each with its own unique mechanic, each with its own set of hints, and with PvP mods and rankings for each and every one of them. So you could play whatever mechanics you like. You will be getting rewards to customize your mansion. You will be getting your ratings, and in the end of every month, we will reward best players based on their rating and based on their level in rankings. And mansion customization. Okay. There simple concept: you will have 2D mansion, or all achievements that you will get in while playing puzzle games will be converted to unique items that you can use to change appearance of your mansion. And also we will have shop with items, so you can buy what you want. Also, our painting collection will have their new life, because all of our paintings you will be able to hang on the walls to make your estate even more unique. And we already have roadmap for our collections. We will be releasing collection every month. They will be of different sizes. Like, for example, smallest collections that we will release will have 6 paintings, and biggest collections that we will release will have 60 paintings. Collection of 60 paintings, it will be our yearly collection that will decide theme of collection for next year. For example, classical literature, fantasy, horror, and so on and so on. And here you can see collection for next year, starting from iconic vintage characters, and 2 collections that we didn't decide what we want to do with them yet. And one another thing that we will add to our game is customizable bookshelves. From the start, it will be like presets of bookshelves that you can change in your game with placeholders for books names. And if one of our partners, publisher partners, will have rights to sell you this book, we will be redirecting you to their shop, and it will be kind of cross-promotion with books from our app. And ideally, we look forward to remove all classical advertisement from our game and only focusing on cross-promo with publishers. So only advertisements that you will see in your game is like books, comics, or maybe art events in your country. And to develop this game, we had our roadmap. Here you can see where and how we will deliver you our content for next half year. So what we will do to deliver you this concept? At 12th of December, we will start Kickstarter campaign. with starting goal of 25,000. This amount will allow us to replace our current dictionaries with something a little bit more interesting, because this is how our dictionary looks. It's like just file in Google Docs, and we want to use Oxford Dictionary IP. Oxford Dictionary is like what leader is in dictionary solutions. They have their cost of IP like $5,000 per year for one language. And with 25Ks, we will spend it for Oxford Dictionary and to localize our game to English, because this distinction between way of thinking, where for Ukrainian players understand rules and work with nouns, but English player tends to get really angry when they could not use any words that come to their minds, is really hard to us to understand. And here you can see our great team of 9 players who developed this game and who will be developing and market it for you. So follow us on our social media, because in like 2 weeks we will be starting our Kickstarter campaign. And if you liked my presentation, the best way for you to thank me is to share and to subscribe to our social media and share our posts. Maybe some of your friends like Kickstarter and will back up us. And for your convenience, I created QR code for this presentation, so you in any moment can return to it and look through it. Thank you very much.
Так, любі друзі, подякуємо Олексію за таку неймовірну презентацію. Цікаво, звісно, послухати про успішний успіх, але про факапи, звісно, слухати цікавіше. Я думаю, у вас є якісь питання до нашого лектора, тому, будь ласка, підійміть руку, і я підійду до вас та будемо задавати питання. Так, секунду.
Можна українською, так?
Так.
Ви казали, що проблема отримати дозвіл, лайкнес цих авторів, правильно? І багато хто не відповів. Як ви це обійшли? Я так розумію, є якийсь таймфрейм, якого можна використовувати, там, хто там більше, я не знаю, 50-100 років?
Є таймфрейм, якщо людина мертва більше, в деяких країнах це 50 років, в більшості країн це 70 років. Всі автори, які померли 70 років назад, всі їхні здобутки, все те, що вони написали, стають як надбутком людства. І його можна використовувати вже як хочеш. Якщо, звичайно, не продовжені якісь контракти від тих, хто мають права, таке буває, але достатньо рідко.
І тих, хто не дали дозвіл, просто ви...
Так, ми просто їх залишили в наших архівах. В нас є класні зображення Сандерсона, Мартіна, Кінга, Крісті, і ще багатьох таких найпопулярніших сучасних письменників. Але, можливо, в один день, якщо ми будемо йти доволі добре, то ми зможемо їх використати.
Окей, дякую.
Друзі, в кого ще є питання? Так, секунду.
Поділіться своїм досвідом, будь ласка, по маркетингу. Ви казали, що самі пробуєте просувати. Які сітки ви використовуєте і чи таргетуєтесь, можливо, на свою аудиторію? Як ви це налаштовуєте? Там Facebook, Google ви використовуєте? Що саме?
При маркетингу нашої апки ми пробували два підходи. Ми пробували вести маркетинг через Facebook і через Google. Через Facebook ми починали, але припало так, що, по-перше, тоді були вибори в США, і Facebook на США був забитий рекламою виборів, з якою дуже важко потягатися в плані ціни за показ. І плюс ми спробували Google рекламу, і вона показала себе набагато краще, десь, мабуть, ціна на одного ліда була десь в 2 рази, 1,5 рази дешевше на Гуглі, чим на Фейсбуці. Як ми вибирали аудиторію? Ну, по-перше, спочатку ми відштовхувались від локалізації. У нас 2 мови, англійська, українська. Ну, з українською все зрозуміло. Ми працювали з Україною і вибирали ті міста, в яких найбільше наших переселенців, найбільше наші ком'юніті. Це може бути там щось в Польщі, в Канаді, і ми таргетно маркетились туди. Що стосується англійської аудиторії, то ми шукали країни, в яких багато людей знають англійську. І, наприклад, от Філіппіни чому зайшли? Тому що в них англійська – це як друга, навіть перша мова, і тому там багато людей знають англійську. Це вважається, ну, це тір-3 ГЕО, тобто закупка реклами на цей регіон доволі дешева. І, в принципі, для Філіппінів ми якраз і отримали найкращий результат. Ну і так, в принципі, по мові ми дивилися, які країни ми можемо використати, з якими країнами ми можемо маркетуватися. По інтересам ми вибирали ті інтереси, які співпадають з нашою апкою. Наприклад, це література, це може бути там ігри, пазли і так далі. Просто підбирали різні аудиторії, тестили їх, перевіряли, які показували найкраще. Ну і отаким чином ми і маркетувалися.
Дякую. Ще, будь ласка, у вас теж дуже цікавий досвід. Який відсоток гравців у вас проходить туторіал? Ви казали, що ви довго боролися з тим, щоб навчити людей механік своїх, і це буде дуже цікаво почути, як ви з цим боролися.
У нас було кілька варіантів туторіала. Перший – це я взяв принцип із попередньої моєї компанії. Це онбординг, який використовується в багатьох іграх, де просто показується там порядок екранів, які розповідаються про гру. При цьому завершення онбордингу у нас було там порядка 70%, але це було класно, і ми давали всім там в кінці картину. За рахунок цього вони проходили. Але враження складалось таке, що просто протикувався цей онбординг, він нічого не давав. Потім ми почали вставляти попапи з правилами вже в саму гру. Спочатку просто показували попап зі старту з якимось текстом, теж його ігнорували. Потім ми додали таку класну річ, як надійшли слово розробнику. Тобто, якщо людина грає, бачить, що в нас немає якогось слова в словарі, вона відкриває кнопочку і надсилає нам слово. І ми зробили це попапчиком. Якщо ти там 10 разів неправильно вводиш слова, тобі вилазить попапчик, який каже, такі слова можна вводити, такі слова не можна. Якщо ви думаєте, що в нашому словарі нема слова, надішліть. І цей варіант показав себе найкраще, але все одно в нас дуже багато гнівних відгуків на Google Play, там, де люди такі, у вас немає слова «бачити», у вас немає слова «червоний». І від цього нікуди не дінешся. Різниця в тому, що моє враження таке, що для англійськомовного юзера ігри «Слова зі слів» – це більш казуальні, гіперказуальні механіки, вони просто хочуть зайти і не думати, вони хочуть просто клацати слова. В Україні це працює трошки по-іншому, бо в Україні дуже багато людей, які такі, якщо у вас немає слова, яке використовується тільки в моєму регіоні, все погано.
Ще буде питання, ще одне, бачу, рук небагато, то спитаю про монетизацію. Ви кажете теж, що з цим довго боролися. І яке відсоткове співвідношення у вас з реклами і з інапів? І чому, на вашу думку, ви кажете, не вдається вам інапи налаштувати, щоб люди цим користувалися?
По прибуткам, якщо розділити все, що ми заробили, то в нас десь, здається, 80% ми отримали від реклами і десь 20% від інапів. Це підписки, це були покупки там, підказок, і всяких ресурсів для гри. Чому з інапами вийшло складніше? Тому що для підписочної моделі Є два варіанти, як працювати з підписочною моделлю. Один той, який використовують дуже багато компаній, там, де вони зробили просто будь-яку гру, закрили хард пейволом, людина підписалася, дуже трійкі шляхи, щоб відписатися, і вони далі, типу, все, пофіг, окей. Але проблема в цьому, що воно дуже понижає рейтинг. І оскільки основна наша платформа була Android, ми не могли собі це дозволити, бо в iOS є один лайфкод. iOS ви можете скидати ваш рейтинг з кожним релізом. Тому якщо ви хочете тестити і перевіряти якісь теорії, краще робіть це на iOS. Оскільки ми дуже боролися за рейтинг, ми не змогли дозволити собі hard paywall. Ми працювали з екраном підписки, але знову ж таки в нас не дуже було досвіду, як сформувати екран підписки. Бо насправді вигляд екрану підписки – це там 80% його успіху, і ми десь не потрапили в це, тому що наш UI UX дизайнер з класним досвідом, і він створював багато класних речей, але він ніколи не працював з екранами підписок в іграх. І він не знав, що в нього мало досвіду про те, як це сформувати, і ми не знайшли цей функціонал. Ну а внутрішні ігрові покупки, скоріше за все, проблема в нашій економіці, яку ми зараз трошки перероблюємо. Ми забагато давали юзерам ресурсів, тому в них не було нагальної потреби там купляти підказки або щось таке.
Дякую.
Так, бачу.
А як ви плануєте колекції для користувачів робити кориснішими? Бо ви кажете, що кожен місяць будете додавати нові колекції, і вони можуть просто свою цінність втратити.
Ну, в плані з Arcane Words Estate тут все простіше, оскільки це відкриває вам нові шляхи до кастомізації вашого додатку, і по факту кожна нова колекція може змінити, як вона виглядає. З Arcane Words, з нашою основною грою, ми збираємося трошки переробити механіку того, як працюють картини, і зробити, щоб картини, які відкриваєте, давали вам якісь бонуси в грі, там, типу, одна нова підсказка на 10 слів, ну і такого плану. Але це ще ми будемо тестити.
А цей NFT, може чисто думка пролітала?
Думка пролітала, тому що в Arcane Words Estate 25 тисяч – це наша стартова ціль, але в нас є майлстоуни, які ми хочемо побити, і один з майлстоунів була така ідея, що всі картини, які ми будемо робити, ми будемо замовляти фізичні картини у найкращих там чи українських, чи світових художників. Потім ми їх будемо цифрувати, вставляти в гру, і в нас буде залишатися оригінал цієї картини, з яким ми далі зможемо працювати.
Дякую.
Чи ще є питання? Якщо питань немає, то я хотів би задати особисте питання. Уважно слідкував за презентацією і як від девелопера до девелопера питання. Була проблема One Man Army. І я так розумію, що це той момент, коли ти не розумієш, за яку таску взятись, їх занадто багато, можливо, наступає вигорання. Як ви з цим боролись?
Ну, насправді я вигорівший, просто далі куди вигоріти вже не можна. Але, як боровся? Просто сідав і робив, пріоритизував, ми відкидували в процесі якісь речі, які не наскільки пріоритетні. Все починається з пріоритизації, все починається з того, що ти чітко маєш розуміти, що за чим віддавати, і це такий перший крок. Другий крок – це аїшка. Аїшка в програмуванні дуже допомагає і спрощує якісь процеси. І третє, я зараз дуже говнокоджу. Я зараз, коли роблю апку, я відійшов від тої системи, що апка має бути максимально класною, максимально підтримуємою для подальшого розвитку, тому що ми зараз не впевнені, чи він буде. Тому нам потрібен швидкий результат.
Тоді ще питання. Чи був такий момент, коли ви зробили якусь частину, а ця частина не війшла до релізу? Тобто ви її просто відкинули, і вийшло так, що час пішов в нікуди?
Насправді так. Я показував MVP. Це те, що ми запланували, і багато з цього я почав робити. В першій версії апки, яку я хотів релізити, в нас були і ремонтні конфіги, і збереження на хмарі, і авторизація. Але проблема в тому, що якраз ці частини потребують дуже такого ґрунтовного тесту, і оскільки вони можуть привести до найбільших проблем в апці. І я їх просто викинув, залишив десь закоміченими в якійсь гілці, щоб потім їх додати. От, але такі, з артом, з якимось контентом тут легше. Добре, що в нас не було ще таких випадків, коли ми якийсь контент зробили і не додали його в гру, але для соцмереж таке теж часто буває, коли там ідея виглядає класно, ти починаєш робити, розумієш, що треба набагато більше ресурсів, чим ти можеш виділити на цю апку, і ти просто забиваєш на цю ідею.
Дякую. Друзі, подякуємо ще раз, будь ласка, нашому лектору.